Hi, my name is Nancy Love, and I am trying to be the founder of something I call the Planet Peace Project, which is involved with education, mediation, celebration, and the training of advocates and volunteers across a variety of um, genres of efforts. Normally, when I post videos on this particular channel, they are dealing directly with the work of the Planet Peace Project, but I'm also using this channel to promote and promulgate some ideas regarding a science fiction work that I'm preparing to release as a novel and try to sell as a screenplay because I would like to have both books and a movie and possibly a television episodic series that is called Return to Innocence, Game Over. It deals with an extrapolative world, sort of an alternate probable timeline, in which a world very, very much like ours, in the early 21st century, just right where we are, is populated by a group of individuals that realize that they are living in sort of a fictional world and that their governments aren't what they seem to be. They're not motivated to help the citizenry. They're motivated to help the 1% of individuals worldwide who are in collusion with, here it comes, an extraterrestrial species that has not only built huge city-size computers that you have to drive through, computers so big you have to have golf courses to drive through them underneath all major urban areas in the world, but also infected the entire human species as well as various other mammalian species with nanobots that allow them to basically download software into all of us and control our behavior at least some of the time. So we find that we are in this fictional world, essentially what Star Trek would have called Borg, but without external implants. And many of the individuals, the characters I'm writing into this fictional scenario, are pretty darn outraged. I call it justifiable outrage. And they're fighting mad and trying to take back their lives and their freedom, as well as four other species. Because freedom is the way to be. Free is the way to be. So this is a brief letter, and it's bound to be upsetting, and it may jerk a few tears out of your eyes. And if this letter doesn't move you, then you may have already lost your soul. It is a letter that our hero, a woman I refer to as NKultra, because her name is Nancy Katarina Love, go figure. It's kind of like she's modeled after me, although that's not exactly my name. Has written her friend, the police chief of Los Angeles, and she's associated with some of the other folks in that administrative office. So she writes an email to the Los Angeles chief of police and his associates there after having left him some messages on his voicemail. Here goes. Hold on. After hearing messages from June 16th, 2019, on the police chief's line, in which I express yet again my justifiable outrage, read this poignant tribute to the man who, with tears in his eyes, informed me of what and who I really had to be, starting in 1971 when I was 14. The backstory indicates that in 1971, when NKultra was 14, her father, a military intelligence professional and inventor for the mob they call the military, informed her with tears in his eyes and anger, outrage in his voice and face that she had in fact been Wait a minute, there's the coolest Navy plane I've ever seen. It's a helicopter with two. Sorry, I've got You wouldn't have been able to hear me over that noise anyway, but I've almost never seen one of those planes with the two propellers. That was neat. I wonder if they're listening. Anyway, let's get back to this fiction. Nancy Katarina Love, when she's 14, finds out from a man who loves her very much, who's crying and totally outraged that she had been infected or implanted with nanobots as an infant. And one of these one of these arrays was a detonatable and internally or externally detonatable nuclear bomb. So without joining the military or volunteering for any darned experiments, she finds out when she's just a kid about to enter high school, when her primary concerns are how short can her skirts get without her getting sent home from school. And she's so fair, but can she really get away with wearing that bright red lipstick that all the other girls get to wear? She finds out that she's inadvertently a suicide bomber, and that she could accidentally internally trigger this stuff with great fear, great anger, or a deadly combination thereof. And also that the equipment that the military installed in her without her permission when she was an infant could be detonated externally by some jerk who was having a bad day. So that's what this letter refers to, and I want you to understand the backstory, because that's part of what should be making you cry. She quotes Benazir Bhutto. I'm practically yelling at you because I'm in a very noisy environment near the naval base in San Diego, California. So apologize, but if this were true and not fiction, I'd be yelling, and I'd be yelling loud. Benazir Bhutto, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, or the deceased now leader, said, "I did not choose this life. This life chose me. I did not choose this life. This life chose me." And here's where NKultra is emailing the police chief. After informing me of my role in the military intelligence program, my father actually said, "I apologize for helping in any way, bringing you into this world, into this thing. I knew what the military intelligence community was doing to you, even when you were a baby. And one day your mother and I decided I would take you into the backyard and bash a brick over your head to spare you the pain of this life. I couldn't do it. You were a beautiful, innocent baby. And just when I was about to prevent you from living a lifetime of being an experiment and a torture victim, you smiled. You smiled. I brought you back in the house, sobbing and apologizing to your mother. And as she took you, still alive and breathing, back into her arms, she cried too." This was a very sobering insight for a young woman to have. But I already knew so much about his motives and pain, I actually replied, "Thank you, Daddy, for even thinking about killing me as a child. What kind of situation do you have to be in, and what kind of life do you have to be living when you say, 'Thank you, Father, for even thinking about killing me as a child. What a country. What a family. What a life. He was not perfect, but he was one of the most astonishingly intelligent people I've ever known. It was like living with Thomas Edison or Alexander Graham Bell. He asked me when I was 14 to help him develop equipment we would design to help our U.S. military intelligence operatives do their duty, safe from harm, when they were miles from our shores. They were implants to be worn in the interior of the skull. Honored to do anything within my power to help our spies, NKultra says, I did exactly that. So she's been brought into, being part of this thing where she, as still a child, really is developing equipment for this group of people that think they have the right to install nanobots, transmitters, and bombs into children. My father was in many ways a torture victim, and he acted like it. But he told me things that inform me even still, and they were hard things to tell a child. Many conversations we had, and in many of those he cried. One of the most significant things he ever did when I was 14 was that he apologized for bringing me into this world of corruption, evil, and pain. And I appreciate that apology most of all. Dad, for all the things you did wrong, I think you were coerced or threatened into doing them. For all the things you did right, I think that must have taken such awesome courage. If you had been born an innocent in an innocent world, if you had been born an innocent in an innocent world, you would have been a uniformly beautiful and completely moral man. You trusted me with the most awful knowledge, believing I had the courage and capacity to bear it well. You believed in me. You believed in me. And I will not let you down. I will see you again in the golden light of eternal love. Till then, I am not only your daughter, I am your #resistor. Spelled like that. This is Nancy Love, live from very near the naval base in San Diego, California. More later, much more. Until then, look for me to serialize this on Patreon. I think that I will probably start reading this story to the world because I don't have the luxury of the time to sit around writing books and screenplays right now like everybody. I'm trying to recover economically in a post-COVID economy, and I am disabled and can't stand or walk. So I have unique challenges, but it's so important. People, it is so immensely, profoundly important that some of the ideas that I am promulgating in this fictional work I call Return to Innocence, Game Over, get out into the world right now. People, we need to achieve unanimity. We need to refuse to play the end game.